Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Ajid, and I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about Alvin Batiste's root progression method. For those of you who haven't heard the name Alvin Batiste, Mr. Bat was an amazing clarinetist, composer, and educator from the Louisiana area. He was originally from New Orleans, but spent a lot of his life living in Baton Rouge, where he taught at Southern University. Mr. Bat has this amazing resume of students, cats like Branford Marsalis, Terrence Blanchard, Donald Harrison, Randy Jackson, Jonathan Batiste, Trombone Shorty. The list goes on and on and on. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to study with Mr. Bat when he moved back to New Orleans and was teaching at the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts and at the Louis Armstrong Jazz Camp. So part of his teaching method was something called the root progression method. And the root progression is very similar to the Slaminski book that Coltrane credited as being a big influence in his life. And what we're doing here in the root progression is we're finding different ways of dividing the octave in order to create new melodies and practice routines. So the root progression is divided into 8 different sections. So section 1, we are going to divide the octave into its smallest part, the minor second, or the chromatic scale, and we have 12 equal divisions of the octave. In section 2, we are going to have 6 divisions of the octave, or major seconds, and it's called the whole tone scale. In section 3, we're going to alternate half steps and whole steps, section 1 and section 2, to create the half-whole diminished scale. In section 4, we're going to change the order, and we're going to play section 2 and section 1. We're going to play whole step, half step, to play the whole half diminished scale, and this will be the descending version. Now in section 5, we're going to divide the octave into 4 equal parts, or minor thirds, or the diminished 7th chord. Now in section 6, we are going to divide the octave into 3 equal parts, major thirds, or an augmented triad. Now, in section 6, we are going to expand the interval, and we're going to go to perfect fourths, and we're going to play through the cycle of fourths. And finally, in section 8, we are going to divide the octave in 2, or tritones, and that is 2 equal divisions of the octave. And since we only have one note before we start repeating, Mr. Bat played section 8, moving up in minor seconds as so. Now, why is this important? The root progression can have a lot of applications. First of all, it's a great introduction to intervals and symmetrical playing. You know, major scales and minor scales are not symmetrical scales, but all of these divisions of the octave are symmetrical. So it's a great introduction to that concept. In a later video, I'm going to dig into each section and how we can use these different sections to create melodies and new sounds based on symmetrical playing. I hope this video helps. I look forward to making more videos about the root progression and Mr. Batiste. And Mr. Bat was a great influence of mine, and if you haven't checked him out, I would highly recommend checking out his records and checking out his body of work. Anyways, leave a comment. Hope you guys are doing well, and see you soon. Later.